Yeah.
Pretty typical
I know,
stuff. Just
the first time I met you, I don't think I ever told you this, but the first time I met you, you always seemed like the Clark Kent in the family, right? It was like small town, small bill, knew how to do shit like ride horses and kill animals and prepare them and eat them. And I don't think anybody else, like it, at least on my side of the family, like knew how to do any of that stuff. So it was like super fascinating to me how you went from like this small town and now you're like part of this mixed race family.
yeah, yeah, definitely. There's some things along the way that got me on that road. Um, I wouldn't change any of it. It's
Yep.
awesome, and I'm glad that I'm not. Small town Iowa is great, but I'm glad I'm not there right now.
Yep.
Um, so I'm glad I am where I am, and that's awesome that you thought that I was like a Clark Kent something. Uh,
Definitely didn't say Superman.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
Oh man. What types of things in Dubuque, like, or in a small town, like as you were growing up, really shaped uh early, West Abercamp, some of the things that got you interested? Like, were you sort of forced to learn how to do these things like fish and hunt and just be handy and ride horses, or was it something that you just sort of like were drawn to?
Well, yeah, definitely a lot of that I was kind of forced into. When I was born, my parents were running trail rides, basically where people would come out and pay money and ride horses. So when I was
Yep.
born, we had like, 65 horses. And I know a
Wow.
lot of people, yeah, a lot of people will hear that and be like, "Oh, wow, your family must have been well off." No, those horses kept us poor pretty much the entire time because they were just, money
Yep.
sucking pets for the most part.
Yep.
So we always grew up with horses. Hunting and fishing, that was pretty much not the only way, but the majority of the way that I got like father son time with my dad was ice fishing and hunting and stuff like that. He taught me how to shoot, which was great. Um, uh, Sports was another big aspect of it. My dad didn't really understand sports, didn't play a lot of sports growing up. Um,
Hmm.
and he grew up. My dad's left-handed, so he grew up in a family with 8 brothers and sisters. So there's 9 of them total, and he was the only one that was left-handed. So he never really like had a
Wow.
baseball glove, uh,
Yeah.
all that stuff. So he didn't understand sports. So a lot of my a lot of people that I looked up to were like baseball coaches and football coaches and stuff like that.
Y- Yeah. Did he want you guys to play sports even though he didn't play it himself, or was that just something that you guys like want to do by yourselves?
It was pretty much something that we want to do by ourselves. Our dad, my dad supported it, but he didn't like really get behind it. If
Yeah.
that makes sense, it was just something that kind of happened, and I think early on, my mom was the one that took us to most of the sporting events and were kind of taxiing us around. Uh, but I don't remember my dad being super active.
Yeah. So he was a more of a sideline observer when you were doing that.
Yeah, pretty much. It's kind of like, the relationship that I have with my son now is I'm kind of a sideline observer when it comes to all the YouTube channels and everything that he watches and
Right.
some of the anime questions that he has for me. Um, I guess I kind of
You need
like it,
cheat
but
sheet for it.
yeah, but I really don't know what's going on. So I think that's kind of how my dad felt when I was playing, football and baseball and doing that
Yeah.
stuff.
What was high school like for you?
Um, High school was so I was not a great student in high school.
Wow. Yeah.
I had a lot of freedom. My parents both worked second shift, so they weren't home at nights at all,
Hmm.
ever, pretty much. Um, so that left me with my little brother and little sister. Kind of me running the house for the most part. Uh, so I took a lot of liberties in high school. I wouldn't come home a lot of nights. I stayed out late, probably doing
Hmm.
things I wasn't supposed to be doing in high school. My grades weren't the best. Wasn't really inspired at
Yeah.
school. Um, but yeah, so that pretty much sums it up. I was kind of a troublemaker.